You know, I often talk about negative stuff on here. I white supremacy as well. So I guess it's a negative thing, isn't it? And I thought about something last night that I just wanted to compose for me, a video about it. I have white folks I follow, and I have white friends. And I've been, listening to different people on YouTube, David Packman and Tim Black, Graham Elwood, and, certain people I like, certain people I don't like as much. Now, when it comes to these major events like the assassination of that Iranian general, I think it was Soleimani, I look at probably just about 80% of all of them. Probably took me like about a day and a half to finally get everybody's viewpoint, because everybody's got a little piece you didn't see. But I'm gonna tell you something. Been following Michael Brooks. I learned about him off of Majority Report, and I really am impressed by him. Every time I listen to him, I learn something. I watch RT. I watch all the foreign media, but he's an American that's really plugged in. He understands that the struggle for workers' rights, the struggle, he understands what solidarity means. And we have to stand in solidarity with our brothers, even if they are outside of this country. This is what nationalism forgets about. Nationalism is good if you're a billionaire. Nationalism is good if you're a general or you have some money in the military-industrial complex. But if you're an average person out here working and striving to make it, nationalism means nothing. Trump's not going to change an economy that you've had over the last 2 decades. You've had since NAFTA started, longer than 2 decades, but more, at least 2 decades of it. You're not going to change that. Everything in here comes from another country. This stuff doesn't. This stuff is coming from another country. You know it does. Thought I could find it real quick for you. But yeah, nothing, well, this is California. But most stuff doesn't come from this country, and that's just reality. And if you're a working class person, you take that for granted. It's like going to a landfill and it's smelling. That's like water is wet. Heavy objects fall to the center of the earth. Rocks are hard. Doesn't mean anything to us. I have to say I'm really humbled to have white folks around me, Caucasians around me, who are more woke than I am. I don't know Michael Brooks, but I've been following him pretty closely. What I mean by that is actually this holiday, I've been going back, watching some of his older videos from a couple months ago and stuff. There's some other people I follow on Instagram. I'm not going to put their names out there that kind of know personally. And they were talking about a black bodybuilder from back in the 70s who died recently. And he was found homeless in a muddy pool, I think like out there in somewhere out in northeast Pennsylvania or something. And he was found like pictures, him with Schwarzenegger and stuff. He was like Schwarzenegger, except he couldn't turn his muscle and everything into something to make money off of, something to he couldn't capitalize on his muscle, which a lot of black men couldn't have. And that's the reality of it as a black man. I realized that. I've said this before. When I look at black men, older black men that I grew up with, like John Mayer talks about, his parents or whatever, his extended parents, I look at that, people that helped raise me. I'm really humbled because I understand. See, when you're young, you don't get it. And even in my early 20s, I didn't get it. And as I've gotten older, I realized these are the people that survived. This Caucasian did everything he could to destroy them. And they're alive. They're walking around here alive. And that's really special. That's really something to see that, to know that, to be aware of that, to be conscious of that reality. This guy was so famous, beat all these records, They find him in a muddy pit somewhere. His family give him the bus ticket to come across the country. Doesn't pick him up. He has to walk, and he fucking dies in some 2 feet of water, 3 feet of water. Might be more than that. That's sad. But the fact that those white folks that I know were talking about him, I didn't even know about this guy because I don't follow bodybuilding. I used to look at Palladian stuff and different kind of things, the grippers. I used to follow that stuff years ago, but I was never a real bodybuilder. I bench pressed like 300 and stopped. No further than that. I just started working out again because I told you about that goiter I had. It kind of scared me because I seen a, like that. And I had kind of stopped taking this. Ocean line. I had stopped taking my iodine. That doesn't help. Well, it doesn't help to not take that. Plus, you're using a water filter that's in some way damaged. I think that's not really meant for fluoride. That's a chlorine. That's a carbon block. Like what I had at the house, Elsa's house. It's just made to stop sand and dirt and the impurities in water. It's not really made for fluoride, excuse me. Need something to take that out of it. Will I ever get a fluoride filter? Maybe. It's so expensive. I don't think I ever will. That's one of those long-term things. I'll never do that. Not worth it. I don't see the value in that when I've got a... Anyway, it's humbling for white folks I know to be that conscious. And that's why I love California so fucking much. These are white people I know. They're talking about black heroes I don't know about. And I'm always up here talking about Marcus Garvey and Paul Robeson and stuff. And here I am not knowing about someone that was a weightlifting superhero. You know? When I think about black men like that guy, I think about Elder Chess, my grandfather, and how he had a great life and all that. Very smart. I mean, he was smart with numbers. He was like a savant. He was real quick with numbers. I just think about what my grandfather could have been. You know, he got caught up. He got defrauded and he was in a scam and stuff. I think about that. Well, black elders, they deserve better. They really did. You know, and society's really let them down. So, but I'm really humbled by that. I told my dad that he didn't get it, but I'm really humbled to have Caucasians around me who do get it, who do speak out about these things, because they don't have to speak about this guy. This guy's dead. This guy was a superstar back in the 70s, and yeah, this woman and her son are talking. I'm like, who is he? What are y'all talking about? You know, that. I gotta get back to California. It's just crazy living in North Carolina. I got off the road because, honestly, I hated over the road, but I also, like my last year or two is when you started seeing these protests about, what was it, the one in Dallas, Barton Springs or whatever, the one we shot the boy that was in the car that was backing up, and he got the rifle, shot up in the car, and got convicted of it. He said he was in fear for his life, but the video, body cam showed the car was going the other way, and he lied. And there's the video, his partner sitting there talking to him. He ain't got no gun out. It was making messages talking about that people try to jump on your truck, this and that and the other. I know that was, they talking about these are crazy times we live in. I didn't think so then. I looked at that kind of like, this is a reaction to something. It's like if I get burned on that stove, I'm going to be careful touching it next time. It's a reaction to something. It isn't just what happens right now. It's what happened 6 weeks ago, what happened 2 years ago. You see what I'm saying? I knew that. Even though I was still an InfoWars person, I knew. And then, you know, just hearing truckers talk about racist stuff. Even though I was a coon, I knew back then that this isn't logical talk. And so, I've been off the road for a little while, and I've only become more and more progressive, more and more involved. And realizing that I am definitely, even if I never would have protest, I am definitely on the side of those rednecks and those trucks. Now, America's done a lot of wrongs, a lot of folks around the world. And they always, black, brown man, orange man, bad. It's Dr. King said something. I heard a quote today. I'll try to paraphrase it. Something more dangerous than conscientious stupidity and sincere arrogance, sincere ignorance. Hold on. I think that's it. I think that was it. And that's what when they make jokes like that, where people will say, "Well, why did the police do this?" Going out under Sharia law. That's what I'm talking about. They know that isn't what you're saying. They're just using it as an opportunity to jump in and say something to make a political point. That's how desperate they are. It wasn't too long ago that I was told not to be political about everything, but everywhere I go, I was in Raleigh. I was doing a mail run, and so it was like in the daytime. I had to drive all night. It's one of them runs where I meet the dude at the truck stop and all that stuff. And I walk in, like, "What's the restroom?" Dude says, "Well, the restroom for the men's room is over there, And he tried to make some kind of joke, and I was like, "Oh, I'm up all night. I'm not in my right mind." I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like they never miss a chance to make a political statement ever. And I was always taught when I was younger, like, don't do that. Like, when you do a job, you do a job. I realize these Caucasians, rednecks, are not even pretending no more. They're not even pretending to be about just the job. And it's all about, that's desperation. It's desperation. That's what it is. You're desperate. That's why you have to put something snarky in every chance you get. But I knew that then. I had no idea I would meet people out here, and people who are really aware and informed, and it's crazy how the world is, isn't it? I remember listening to what's his name, Ventura, talking about him reading a book about the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I was shocked by that. And he would be on the subway reading it. He lived in Minnesota at the time, and getting strange looks. It's crazy that I'm looking at white people, and white people are educating me on the struggle. And that is just so surreal. It makes me take a step back, like, wow. And I'm not saying that from a position of arrogance. I'm here to learn. I'm like John Mayer said it, I'm searching for my own authenticity. That's what this is all about. But, I've been in California a few times on the road and stuff, but I do mail runs out there and stuff, and I just know that there's nowhere else I want to live but that place. I told my dad this, that being here is like dying slowly. Like 1%, or like 0.1% of my life is dying slowly. When my dad talks about getting married and having kids and stuff, I'm just like, not in North Carolina. I hate it here. People think Charlotte's progressive. It's like somebody said it's progressive if you're, from a very rural state. Charlotte's not progressive. Not at all. I miss it. I miss the people, I miss the experience, I miss the environment. I don't like LA that much. But it was very, very different. Very different. I realized more and more that for these rednecks, Caucasians, what they like is I hate. Like what they like, I hate. I spoke before about John Mayer. I just got on his Instagram and stuff. I still listen to his music. He still plays some of the old music in his concerts and stuff. I thought he had just like moved on, and he hadn't. And I thought about the transition he's done growing up in his music and in my life, and how I'm not there. I'm still alive in LA. I'm not quite there yet, which would be being established in your life. I'm not quite there yet. Who knows if I ever get there? You know, at one time I thought I was competing with Caucasians in the South, and now it's like they mean nothing to me. Like, people down here, what they think means nothing. About my car, about the way I dress, about the way I talk. Nothing they say, nothing they think matters to me at all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's like I'm like Malema. I don't listen to white people. I don't. I have no interest in that. None whatsoever. I say this often, that if it wasn't for racism and blatant bigotry that I've dealt with, I wouldn't feel the way I am. I was a coon. I've dated white women. It was experiences I've dealt with over the road that made me like this. Ain't that something? I think that's how it is if you're black. I think that's either A, you become angry and bitter, or B, you get off the road. And I only got on the road so long as I was at Walmart, and that money was good. It kept going. Supposed to end in like Christmas, something like that, Thanksgiving or something. It just kept going. Like another month, I think I was working there. So, but I want to get off trucking, period. This is not the life for me. I don't like this job. I don't like people I deal with. Sometimes it's like, you work to live, right? Peace out.